Strange noises aren't that weird, tygrtom. Faso, I'll have you know that there was at least 6 characters at all times. Alright, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Streamisho for July the 15th, 2020. Blah. Tongue feels weird every time I say that year number. It's become very cursed. Anyway, hello! Welcome to this week's Streamisho. It is I, your host, Slow Wolf, and I'm super happy to be here right now. I hope that you guys have had a good week, and that it's been a nice, pleasant time for you on a personal level, and that everybody's been happy and healthy. On my end, things have been fine. Anyway, we're back, and we got a lot of news today. To cover things off quickly, the SPL Session 2 is going to be underway, but we're going to go ahead and delay it by a couple of days, as registration has taken a bit of a turn for the confusing. So I'm here to lay down the law and explain a couple of things and just hopefully get things set on track so that way the SPL Session 2 works exactly as well as the first one did. Secondly, we're going to go ahead and talk about a community member who did some pretty outstanding things for charity this week. And finally, we're going to be talking a little bit about, well, Blightbound. We're going to be talking about Blightbound, we're going to be looking at the Blightcast, and we're also going to be talking about music. Very specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the Sonic Picnic Crates campaign one more time. And in this case, we're not going to talk to the folks at Sonic Picnic. What we're going to do is we're going to listen to the music, and we're going to pick 3 of my favorite tracks out of the thing, listen to them, and I'm going to nerd out about it. And then after all that, we're going to go ahead and listen to Blightcast Episode 2 with a very special guest this time. And we should be on a proper, normal schedule. So, hopefully you guys have had a good time. But yeah, it might be cursed, but at least there's Blightbound. Hey, this is true. So, let's get this party started as far as the news is concerned. Hey, music, dim it down. Thank you. Music department here is nutter butters. It's just insane sometimes. So let's start off with the very beginning of things. I'd like to go ahead and congratulate a member of our community, and a member of our community that's been around for a little while. The Ronimo community has been blessed to have several people who have streamed for charity and done things in the past. However, most recently this was done by one streamer called InkyCat. You can go ahead and find her channel, twitch.tv/InkyCat_ here on this website. I'm particularly proud because I find, on a personal level, InkyCat is a friend of mine. But then on top of that, she pulled off a 12-hour stream yesterday, of which Awesomenauts featured in large part, and during that session was the majority of the donations, which ended up not being just $100 or $200, but 1,225 Great British Pounds sterling, which is significant as hell. So I'd like to go ahead and give a big round of applause. If everybody at home can just do the same thing, just yeah! To InkyCat for that huge community effort getting that together. That is spectacular. It's something that I hope to be able to, as Ronimo community manager, to continue to applaud, promote, and push as hard as I physically possibly can. Had I gotten news of that a little bit earlier, I would have been able to promote it in the last stream. But anyway, I wanted to go ahead and give another big applause there. It is a huge amount of money going towards the LGBT Foundation in England, where they're helping people mostly with a call-in line, which has been very important recently. With everybody being locked up and everything, it's important to be able to talk. So, just wanted to give another big shout out to InkyCat. And if you want to see something that ended up becoming a raise money goal for InkyCat's charity stream yesterday, if you hop into Awesomenauts right now, you might notice that there's a weird sock that shows up on the carousel. It's only there for a limited time. Grab your screenies while you can. Now, let's move on to the next big piece of news. We've got the SPL Session 2. So, for those of you that aren't in the know and that aren't big in terms of competitive play, hey, don't worry about it. This will be a short section. The SPL Session 2 is underway, but registration's been a little bit chaotic for people, and I have not made that easy. So I'm going to go ahead and make that about as easy as I could possibly make it. Oh, also, I forgot. Before we do anything else, guess who forgot to explain the raffle system? We're doing raffles. Hey, look, you see that timer in the bottom left of your screen? That thing's going to go ahead and tick down, and at the end of that 15-minute time period, ba-ding, there's going to be this big chorus. It's going to be insanity. I'm eventually going to get out my trombone and play a proper fanfare for it. But, you know, after 15 minutes, we got Roboscoops. So, raffles, Roboscoops, get them. Enter the raffle. Get those Roboscoops. Have a good time. But get Roboscoops. That's the important bit. So, again, Roboscoops are, like, unique. You can only get them here in this particular setting. But, we're going to talk about whether or not it's possible I can do other stuff for Roboscoops if y'all are interested. Okay, back to the SPL. So, as it stands right now, the SPL's in a situation right now where it's trying to get previous teams and new teams into a new session. Here's what's going to happen. If you've had a team that participated in the previous session, Session 1, then you're already registered. Great. All you need to do is send me the changes to your team, the changes to your roster list, and you're good to go. I'll input all those manually, because this isn't exactly a 13 million teams worldwide event or anything. I can manage to pull the time necessary to do that. If you are a brand new team, then you need to register at the SPL page. As I figured out that I don't need to make a whole new tournament for everything, I can just have the one tournament and keep adding sessions to it. So, that's what we're going to do. It's going to help me speed things up a little bit. Yeah, that should be fine. If you guys need... Now, the thing is, a lot of people have been asking, hey, isn't today the deadline? Don't worry, I've changed that. The new deadline is this Friday. So there's a whole other 48-hour period to get all this sorted out. We're taking that out of the downtime from the next session. So as a result, this isn't going to impact the 3 weeks. The 3 weeks that we're going to have here. This is going to it's only going to impact the amount of time you have to wait in between the next session and this session. So, if you are looking to register and you had no previous session experience, as in you do not have any teams registered in the SPL, go to the SPL tournament website, TOORNAMENT website. If you put in SPL tournament, you'll probably find it very quickly. I'll also go ahead and make sure to slap it all over the socials. You can also find it in our Discord at discord.gg/Ronimo if you go to the competitive tab and hit the pinned messages. Register a brand new team, have a good time. It's going to be a blast. So far, it's been very popular and very positive. If you have a previous team, you do not need to do any of that. You just need to send me what's changed. Team members that have swapped in and out, whether or not you want to continue to participate if your team forfeited at any point in the previous session, and any roster list changes, which there will probably be some. That's it for the SPL. Hopefully that's good enough. Let's see. We need some time to try more comps. I figured that might be the case. Play any more? Oh, no. Does each person have to individually register? No. Each team can register on their own, so you can have the captain of every team do that. Now it is mandated and required that every team has a captain in the new booklet, in like the new rewritten booklet. So please get your captain to go ahead and register you guys for sure. All right, let's move on. Next bit of news. So I want to talk a little bit about music, which means that music department, shut your mouth. We got other things to do. We need you to do specific tracks. So, I want to talk about specific music today. And the reason why is because the crates campaign for Awesomenauts is still ongoing. Don't get me wrong. I love the music in this game. But the amount of people going in on this album seems to indicate that not enough other people feel the same way that I do. So I'm going to go ahead and link that thing in the chat right now. In addition, I'm going to go ahead and just be a real sad man for a second. And also find out that I actually do have the other link up for the thing. I'll deal with that later. So, go ahead and check out that vinyl. Now, why is this a cool thing to do? One, Sonic Picnic wanted to put this thing together, and they thought it was really cool. Now, here's the big deal. The music in it is fantastic. It's got all the characters, it's got all this other stuff. I love it. And so today, I wanted to go over some of my favorite themes on the album. I'm going to go ahead and start off with one of the newer ones. Based off of whether or not you own this skin. This will be immediately available and immediately apparent. But if there's one thing I absolutely adore in this game, it's the skins that have additional music. They're really popular skins overall and have, you know, usually a pretty big fan base behind them. Now, for today's theme, I want to get a little bit, you know, a little bit piratey, a little bit sea shanty. Let's go and listen to scourge Captain McPain's character theme.
Captain McPain sails the 7 galaxies. He's making casualties he won't restrain. And you won't run him a rig, or you will dance to him. I'm a little scallywag ever since that I was born. Day and night I stole and snagged until the early morn. I started as a bilge rat, but that didn't last long. A pirate's what you're looking at, so listen to my song. 'Cause he is Captain McPain, sails the 7 galaxies he's making.
So I want to go ahead and point out why I like this track so much. Like, I find it's important that when you talk about music and why this music is so good, okay, it's important to talk about why. So Captain McPain's theme is so good for so many reasons. As you can hear, it's obviously a sea shanty, which makes it awesome. You know, pirates. But there's so many smart things going on with this. For one, the instrumentation is bang on point. There's a bunch of different sound effects and hollers and hoots in the background. If you listen to the album, you can actually hear different voices and such in the background doing this kind of thing. It's awesome. But then on top of that, and this is the part that kind of blew my mind when I first heard it. It actually goes off of the original Ted McPain theme in a way that really, really works. It is the exact same key. If you listen to them, the same theme plays. So in that one is dun 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 da dum ba dum bum. Okay, now listen to the character theme for Ted McPain. No pants allowed.
True heroes never fade away. Got no pants on, steady looks okay. True heroes never fade away.
It's the exact same theme. It's the exact same theme. So Sonic Picnic took this theme, which was obviously based off of Highway to the Danger Zone. Like, just listen to the full theme at some point if you get the chance. And, man, it is so good. It is so good. The fact that they managed to turn that into a sea shanty where you get to hear all the hoots and hollers. And again, I'm going to play this again so that way you can hear this, because it is so good. Character theme.
Captain McPain sails the 7 galaxies. He's making casualties he won't restrain. And you won't run him a rig, or you will dance to him. I'm a little scallywag ever since that I was born. Day and night.
It's so good. It's so good. So Captain McPain's theme gets up there in the third. For not only is it fun, it's creative. It reinvents the original theme in a way that is intelligent, thematic, and interesting. And more importantly, it gave us this sweet killing spree. If you don't believe me, that killing spree is so worth it. It's unfortunate it's not on the double LP, but that character theme is. None of the killing sprees are, but the character theme is. Mind you, if you actually get in on this record, on the collector's record, you actually also do get the full digital album, which includes more than 100 songs on it. So go ahead and give that a look too. That's worth a look-see. So, third place, we got that. In second place, and I know that this is going to ruffle some feathers, but this is where I put the character theme for Another Music Skin. Now, Rocco had a really baller theme to just start off with. Let's go ahead and listen to the original theme for Rocco. So, original Rocco theme, 80s cop show. Without a doubt, it oozes of cool leather jacket, glasses, and one-liners that are so cheesy as to make somebody think that they've gone to France. Look, I'm not good at these kinds of metaphors. I make metaphors like a shark does, which is to say not well. So, look, Rocco's theme, already solid as heck. But then they decided to give him a Daft Punk skin and made probably the single most popular song out of all of the character theme songs. And like, don't get me wrong, Nariachi, we love you. Let's listen to Nariachi for a second. Get out! Nobody likes you as much as this next one. So good. Look, I hope that you're enjoying me making a fool out of myself. I'm gonna take a look at the numbers later. I don't want to look at the viewer numbers right now. Point is, theme rocks. Now, that's not actually just against Nyariachi. Nyariachi is amazing, and both themes are on the album. But why is this one so good? One, it takes the Rocco theme that we had from before, right? It's the exact same idea. Bum ba 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 dum. Bum ba 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 dum ba dum. Bum ba 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 dum. Bum bum ba dum bow. Right? Takes that. But then Sonic Picnic pretty much perfectly replicates the style and feel of what Daft Punk would probably have for one of their songs. It's a little bit shorter, go figure, but it's still a 2-minute long track. And that thing slaps so hard. It is an incredibly good track. Not only is it stylistically appropriate, but on top of that, it is musically intelligent as well. It gets all the beats. It's not a lazy copy, as it goes into a bit further creative depth and makes just beautiful music out of it. So, character theme, electronic, supersonic, Cybertronic? Yeah, Cybertronic Rocco. Look, it gets second billing, but it's still not my favorite. Now, out of all of them, there are a very good many I could put up here. And, like, don't get me wrong, it's hard to choose. Like, when you get up to the top, you got stuff like Deadlift's theme. Let's listen to that for a second.
Freeze the mighty, mighty deadlift. Always hard and strong and fast and swift. Double routines with day and night shift. And if you don't, then you will get biffed. Doing his daily 100 crunches. And after that, 200 punches. Finish it up with 80 lunches. He's the baddest of the bunches.
Just, it's awesome. It's super funny. I love Deadlift's theme. We've also got stuff like, oh man, where do I even start? 8-Bit Ulip is really good. Look, I also have to give it to Chucho Croc for a second. Let's listen to that sweet trumpet. Let's skip ahead just a second. Oh, that trumpet makes me weep. It's so good. And like we got other stuff, like even level themes like Spanking Stars are amazing. You can't really go wrong with fun stuff like what Voltar's got going on. Yuri's pretty obvious. You got me on the album. No, you don't. You don't have to worry about that. Hey, for our first winner of the raffle site where you win Roboscoops, the winner is Sirdederic. Congratulations, Sirdederic. Welcome to the Roboscoop family. We love you. Now, at the end of the day, though, we do have to come up with, some final winners. And for this one, we've come from pretty humble beginnings. Okay? With this one, we came from a 34-second track that really, it did justice to the character, but it wasn't enough. It's not as bad as some other tracks, like, oh, clunk. That's all you got. Like that for 14 seconds. That's the whole thing. But it was still like, hey, we need to show one of these original 6 Awesomenauts some love. And when they remade this character, visually speaking, and gave him a brand new coat of paint, they also gave him a brand new coat of music. I just want to... They did not have to do this, but Sonic Picnic did anyway. And good Lord, listen to this just gorgeous piece of music while I get the raffle site started up again. Psych, you thought I was actually going to go for it, huh? Let's try it for real. Psych, that's the killing spree. Try again. Just listen to the character, though. And that's where the normal theme would stop. But then they went super far. I just want you guys to listen to the buttered honey that is the liquid beauty of this trumpet. So why do I like this song the most compared to other ones? Now, this is contentious. I'm going to go ahead and say that right out of the gate. I think it's contentious because that song is not as cool as some other people might argue it's not as cool as some of the other ones. Like, you got stuff like, I don't know, X, where you got like some crazy like singing going on and stuff, right? What about the chill swamp beats from Smiles? What about Dizzy's sweet tracks?
Feel me croaking out the bass. My style is funky and my...
All those are super good. What makes them not pale in comparison at all, but why I prefer the Lone Star one is because they took the original idea of the first version of it and made it into something so beautiful. Like, they took this original idea and they just said, hey, can we make this bloom? And they did. And not only did they make it bloom, they made it bloom in such a way as to provide a variety and a range of things. For a lot of these other themes, you've got this at the beginning. And then this 2 minutes later in. It's not a whole lot different. With Lone Stars, it starts off like, pretty normal. But then it gets loud and it gets soft. There's dynamics. There's peaks and valleys and just... It's so cool. I really, really, really love Lone Star's new theme. I just want to nerd out over that for a little while. Now, we're going to go ahead and nerd out over more music in the future. Now, and I really want to know what your favorite tracks are. And yes, that could include stuff like, Rafflenauts. Jokes. Nobody likes Rafflenauts that much. Don't get me wrong, Rafflenauts is great, especially if you want to try it out. And, you know, everyone's got their opinions about this one. I have no love for the character, but I love his theme. Point is, okay, there's a lot of great music, and I want to go out and explore it with you guys over the course of the next few weeks while the Crates campaign is going. If you really, really enjoy Sonic Picnic's music that they've put together in literally all of Ronimo's games, Awesomenauts is a really good way to show what they can do at their most descriptive, at their most, like, out there and creative, I find. Like, they can do a lot of cool stuff, and this shows it, because there's just a huge variety of music in just the character themes alone. It's incredible. There are very few artists I know that are capable of being able to pull together all those kinds of music in such a convincing and interesting way for a variety of different characters and tie them all together in one game in a manner that works. It's incredible. So, go ahead and check out their Crates campaign. If you think that, like, if you've got the ability to support them on this, be my guest. I'm going to put the link back in the chat. But I do think that it is an excellent thing to get the album and to support artists when you can. Sonic Picnic are fantastic, you know, as far as studios go, and I think that it would be, like, it's a really cool group. But more importantly, like, if you want to get the music and if you want to get some, you know, sweet tunes, it's not just the record, you're also getting the entire Awesomenauts album available in MP3s, FLCs, all FLACs, sorry, in all kinds of formats such that you get everything from easy to download and easy to maintain on your computer to completely lossless. So, if you really like music and you've got the money to burn, well, not burn, but you got the money to spend, then go ahead and check out the Crates campaign and consider backing. They're about 42. If they get up to 100, hey, that's when everything works. And I know that if they get up to 200 and 300, they've got additional things going on. But yeah, this is only like for a limited time. And it is definitely a collector's item to say the least. So, now, as far as what we want to nerd out to next week, go ahead and talk to me on the Discord, discord.gg/Ronimo, or over on Twitter, @Ronimo, or wherever else you might find our names someplace. Facebook would also be a good place, and our Instagram would also work. I really want to talk more about music. It is definitely a passion of mine, and over the next few weeks, hey, go ahead, consider talking to me about it, and I'd love to talk about it more on the Streamisho as well, and showcase other people's music and why they might like it as well. I love all the music on the album, but those are definitely my 3 absolute favorites. With that, I'd like to go ahead and start up the final big part of today's stream. So, I've been kind of hard at work trying to get the Blightcast up and running and figuring out a whole bunch of other stuff, including casting SPL matches and a variety of other stuff. Now, it's been a crazy time here at Ronimo HQ. Go figure, we're coming down to crunch time. For those of you that don't know, Blightbound is coming out into early access on the 29th of July. That's not too long from now. In fact, it's only about 2 weeks. Let's see, 15 plus 7, 22 plus 7. Hey, it's exactly 2 weeks. Boom! I'm good sometimes. And yeah, like, it's coming out on early access. We're going to be a game for reals at that point. And then we're going to be right in that groove that Ronimo loves to be in, which is where when we're talking about updates and we're constantly releasing new characters, new features, new rooms, new stuff. But until then, 2 weeks, and Blightbound's out. So, it's been a bit crazy. That said, I've finally got an episode 2 up and running. Now, I know in the past I said I was going to interview Lawrence. Well, I'm redoing my interview with Lawrence, who helped to design the enemies and such. Because, at the time, we couldn't really talk about anything. Now we can. Since then, though, I've also talked with Robin. And Robin is definitely a favorite person of mine. I adore Robin. And he was one of my, like, closer contacts within Ronimo before I got hired. He's one of the first people I met in person, and he's just a really cool dude. So I got the chance to talk to Robin about Blightbound in a 50-minute long episode podcast. That's right, we're doubling the length of these things, because apparently I can't shut up. So, I'm going to go ahead and premiere it. But, before I do, I would like to go ahead and give some proper news. So, you know what? We'll save the news for now. We'll do the news now. So we have some sad news, and it does have to do with Robin. Robin has officially left Ronimo Games as of Friday of last week. He is no longer a Ronimo, but is now a heart on the Discord server, which means that currently producer roles are falling squarely onto Yoast, and a new person they'll be coming later on down the line. But yeah, Robin has gone off to other pastures. He still has jobs, a job in games, but more importantly, he's moving in to see his girlfriend in a different country, and also importantly, has found a job there that works well for him and his skill set. So, I wanted to go ahead and talk about that briefly. He is still on the Ronimo server, and I want you to go ahead and speak to him. There will be a proper post on like Twitter and all that other stuff. But yeah, that's where Robin's currently sitting. We all love him at Ronimo, and we wish him the best, but he had to go. He had to go for his own reasons, and I can't speak about them, but I'm sure that they will become apparent over time. So, as a means of saying goodbye to Robin, I'd like to go ahead and start airing episode 2 of the Blightcast right here, right now, as a form of premiere, and as a means of saying goodbye properly, from my perspective, to somebody who I consider to be my friend, who I consider currently to still be my friend. I can't believe I keep saying the past tense. Sounds bad when I say the past tense. Just roll the film! Hello and welcome to the Blightcast, the Ronimo Games official Blightbound podcast. Today we are speaking with Robin Meyer, the producer at Ronimo Games. Hello everybody, welcome, and I'd like to welcome Robin to the Blightcast. Hello Robin.
Hello, Phil. Hello, Blightcast.
This is definitely our first time doing this section of the interview. So, Robin, for those people who don't know who you are and what you do at Ronimo, who are you and what do you do at Ronimo?
So I'm Robin. I'm producer here at Ronimo Games. And that means I sort of deal with everything that comes into play when you're making a video game as a team. If you ever emailed us for support on Awesomenauts or Servant Soldiers, I was probably the first to get your email. I've been working very closely with Devolver these last couple months to get everything ready for the release of Blightbound. And all sort of the details that just come into play as a team.
Right on. So, how exactly did you start working at Ronimo? Because it's been... And like, how long ago has it been since you started working at Ronimo? Because it's been a while, as far as I understand.
It's been a while. I actually started out as an intern in January 2011. So that's well over a year before the Awesomenauts TV came out for the first time. Mm-hmm. And after my internship, they kept me on, and that's now almost been just 9 years as a full-time producer. And it's been a pretty wild ride, coming from just pre-launch Awesomenauts to Awesomenauts, going to Steam, years and years of Awesomenauts, Storm Soldiers 2, and now finally Blightbound.
Yeah, nearly a decade of Awesomenauts would make most people kind of immediately go, wait, what? In terms of like the amount of time that has passed. So
it has been great though, just working on a game for that long, building up a community. It's really been an amazing ride. Yeah,
and it's probably allowed you to meet a fair few people that would have been very cool and that you wouldn't have met otherwise. And also kind of meant that
you're.
Hey, I was that's definitely a thing too.
That's pretty good.
So, what exactly does like a producer do at a company though? Like you said that you kind of work the support angle of things, but you also do a whole bunch of other stuff when you're working as a producer for a game company. What exactly does that mean when you're producing at Ronimo? What were your duties?
I think sort of to answer the more general question, what does a producer do? I think when you're working as a team and that team grows, at some point you're not as an individual, you're no longer able to keep up with everything or talk to everyone about everything, and there sort of occurs some friction between people, or just communication doesn't happen, and I think that's where a producer comes into play. It's just someone to help a company or a team deal with its own size.
Right.
Whether that's, in my case, that usually meant just trying to keep track of planning, making sure everyone is working sort of in the same direction, or prioritizing the issues that need prioritizing. Whether just trying to keep everyone on track towards our next objective as a team, because
Right.
it's really easy to sort of get stuck in the details of whatever you're working on yourself. And just trying to stay aligned as a team is not something that happens naturally, I guess.
So yeah.
Beyond that, I've also been doing a lot of just external stuff. So for Blightbound, I went out to pitch to publishers and stuff like that, and I've been working with Volver quite a lot, just to get everything ready for release, and sorting out translations, everything like that. And the same with awesomenauts. We had a really cool community translations team, for example, and every update we used to have text that needs to get translated, and all of that sort of went through me.
Wow. So not only did you end up having to effectively make sure that the internal workings of the company were running, like, if the company was a machine, you'd be the oil that kept it like running smoothly, because without it, like, the entire thing would probably grind to a halt if stuff wasn't communicating properly or working smoothly anyway. Like, you're the internal communications, and on top of that, it seems like you're the external communications. And, you know, pitching to publishers and stuff almost ends up being, like, I'm not sure how often that ends up being the producer's job, but that definitely sounds like almost a marketing thing. And I know for a fact that you did a lot of the marketing help as well by going to a variety of different shows and stuff, and by meeting people and all that. It's how I ended up bumping into you that one time while, you know, we were I was still living in England, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. But still, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's sort of the role of the producer really depends on what's happening at any given time. Just the last few weeks, as we're preparing like post beta builds for Blightbound, for example, I've been really focused on making sure the right bugs get fixed, and stuff like that. But it's not always been that intense, just internally. Sometimes everything's just going smoothly, and then that's all good, allowing me to focus on other stuff. And as you said, pitching to publishers is something that I didn't do alone. I did this with Fabian quite a bit, just sharing that load. So also my role in Ronimo really evolved just depending on the stage our projects were in, and what we have going on internally.
And I imagine that with the recent developments involving COVID-19 and such, your job took on a far stronger role for that communication aspect of things, as compared to potentially before, where people could actually speak to themselves in the office and such. So
yeah, it's been a weird time, really, just getting used to all working remotely with the 29 of us now. And you know, you've joined us recently. You've also been working remotely, and it's not always easy to just keep track of what's going on. And as Ronimo, this is just a new challenge for us. Mm-hmm. It's a new challenge for a lot of companies out there, and it definitely added just a new layer of stuff to deal with as a producer. It's maybe more easy than ever to sort of misalign what you're doing when you're just working at home and focus on your own stuff. Back in the office, we usually just hang out at a computer, look at an issue, and then discuss it. And that doesn't happen as naturally anymore.
No. And it can be really easy to kind of get stuck in your own work. But but there's like, you definitely helped a lot with that. And from the time that I've been here very briefly, I can already see that. So that's that's good to see, and it seems like we're kind of like that. Ronimo's doing a good job with that. So go us. So like we already touched on this, but your work has definitely evolved from when you started. What would you say is the thing that's changed the most outside of very recent events as of March with all the social distancing and such? Because like that's the no duh answer. What would you say is the thing that's probably changed the most since you started at Ronimo as an intern and have now come to this point where you're a fully fledged integral producer?
I think over the time, just internally, the biggest change is that when I joined, there was about 12 of us.
12?
And that was still, I think so, yeah.
That's
12,
it.
13.
Wow.
And at that point, being a producer just means sort of, to go with your analogy of being oil in the machine, it's just really fixing the squeaky wheel, and just keeping track of things. But you can sit at a table, you can still sort of have a general conversation with 12 people. But as we grow, and especially as we grew during Blightbound, we're now going on 30 people. It is no longer possible to just sit down and actually have a conversation, or to get 30 different viewpoints of something. And that has really stretched just a lot of the processes that we've had over all these years. And in a way, just being able to sit down and have a conversation with everyone has been an important part for Ronimo for years. And now with the newer size, that's just hard, and that is, I think, sort of the biggest change that we've had. At the same time, we've had a lot of new people come in, and I think over the past 2 years, I've realized just how much fun it is to have new people join us, just new ideas, new ways to approach things, different interests, and it's really sort of livened up the team, I think. Just to get new people and new perspectives.
And a lot of them still hang around and communicate with the team too, even if they're interns and they leave eventually to go back to school or do other stuff. Yeah. So like it is very much that kind of environment where it seems like things are fairly friendly, and new people are always kind of accepted to come back in and like say hi and stuff and drop ideas and such.
I think that is still an important part of Ronimo, and that is something we really wanted to hang on to, even as we grew. And I think it's big credit to Ronimo that this sort of endures so well, even now. Even now, when everyone's working at home, we really do sort of try to stay in touch with each other, because it's grown into something that's more than just colleagues, right?
Yeah.
In a way, Ronimo has sort of turned into a group of friends or family in a way. And everyone just wants to remain part of this, even now that they're working from home.
Yeah.
At least I really feel that. I really miss hanging out with my colleagues at the office.
Yeah, I remember there was a conversation that went around briefly talking about, okay, so, Dutch government was like, hey, we can actually like have social distancing stuff that goes back into going into the office and stuff. Who would want to? And that conversation was an interesting one to be able to watch from the sidelines as I wave from over here in Canada. So, Blightbound. Let's talk about that for a bit, because it's the big project that's going on in Ronimo right now. Blightbound's been in development for what, like a couple of years now?
Yeah.
Roughly?
Yeah, I think so. I think around 2 years of actual actual work on it, and we did brainstorming for a fair while, and prototyping, that sort of stuff. But yeah,
right.
I think the ideas really started rolling about 3 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right from what I've managed to pick up so far. We've just gotten the chance to start like really showing it off by streaming the game and the PC Gamer Show with the Devolver Direct that'll have come out by the time that this is recorded and all that stuff.
We live in
So
the future.
yeah, that place is wacky. So at this point, we've gotten to this point now where we can show it off and everything. How does that make you feel as the producer, like having kind of made sure that this whole train kept on going choo choo until we got to this part of the state, like until we got to this part of the trip? Like, we've gotten here. There, it is to the point where people see it and all that. What's that like as the producer? What is that feeling?
It's something that I was really looking forward to, just because it puts us back in a position that worked so well for us with awesomenauts. With awesomenauts, for years we were doing updates, and we could just show people what we're working on, and that would get people excited. They'd come back with questions. Some people might be trying out stuff in betas. And there turns out to be some sort of excitement for what we're doing after we've been working on this for like 2 years with the blinds closed.
Yeah.
And now to sort of open those back up, say, hey world, this is our thing, right? We hope you like it, look at it, ask us questions about it. That's just been a really, really exciting ride, and it's just the input from players out there has been super valuable and exciting. Just people saying that and saying like, hey, this looks like something I want to play. Feels so incredibly good, and I was looking forward to that just because it's good for us as a team to sort of get that, see that we've been on the right track. Yeah,
absolutely. And I imagine that gives no small amount of pride to everybody that's kind of been working on this for so long. But in a sense, you're kind of sitting in the back telling people, okay, we need to do, like, this is how we need to organize and stuff. And to see this kind of all kind of come together is, like that would be a really neat feeling, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely.
So this now's the sad part. Folks, we know that Robin here has been working at Ronimo for almost a decade, but almost is where it's going to stay at, because Robin, your time at Ronimo is now sadly coming to an end. And it's
That's right.
It's garbage news in the sense that we are going to miss you terribly, but it's good news because you're going off and you're doing stuff, which you don't have to like talk about or anything on here. And in fact, it's recommended apparently that we don't. But but at the same time, you are going off to newer opportunities and all that stuff, and it should be a really fun time. And that you're still working in games and such, so that's all good. What are some of your favorite things that happened over the course of your tenure at Ronimo? And like, this is the walk down memory lane question. What are some fun things that have happened? I don't know. Pick your top 3.
Yeah. Just to recap, after in total 9.5 years, tomorrow, which is February 10th, will actually be my last day at Ronimo.
You mean July 10th?
It's
February 10th is a while back. That would have been weird to have you around this long when the job was done for months.
My time tracking skills are gone during COVID.
Yeah. Time is an illusion.
I still did March apparently, or February. But yeah, tomorrow is my last day here. It really sucks to leave Ronimo behind. After such a long time, as I said, after my colleagues have become my friends, and it feels like family. I know I'll still be sort of part of that family, but just leaving people behind sucks. But I'm going abroad. I have a really cool new job lined up that I'm very excited about. It's still in games. I'm going to be learning a lot of new stuff. And that has me really excited. But there's still this hard part first. But yeah, looking back at the 9.5 years of Ronimo, there's a lot of great stuff in there. Obviously, like we've had a lot of ups and downs. We shipped some games that I'm absolutely really, really proud of.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really been amazing. I've been to a lot of events. I've had the honor of representing Ronimo at events to players or to publishers, as I said before. And I really feel that is one of the sort of the biggest honors that I've had at Ronimo, just to actually represent our team. And to make a top 3, which is good that you asked me, because I actually wanted to talk about 3 things.
Yes. Guess the correct number of them.
I should write them down before I forget, because I do actually want to know what I wanted to talk about. There's 3 things, which is all right. I remember. It's in chronological order.
The order is chronological.
The order is chronological. Awesomenauts came out on Steam in 2012, and I think in June or in April 2013, I went to PAX East and GDC, and being at PAX was the first sort of big event after the game had come out. It had really gotten traction by then.
Yeah.
We were the game had been in a free weekend on Steam. Total Biscuit had been making videos about it.
Yeah.
And it was just really picking up. And being there at PAX, where a year before we were standing with just 2 small screens in a corner, and we were getting some people like, hey, this is actually kind of fun. Now that it had come out, people were actually coming up to us saying, holy shit, I love Awesomenauts, I play it all the time with my friends. And I think that was the first time actually meeting super excited fans. That really showed me that this was all real, that it was actually people out there so incredibly excited for this game. And I remember at GDC, Jasper and I, we were walking around with Awesomenauts shirts, and I kid you not, someone at GDC was like, oh, holy shit, it's Awesomenauts. Oh, I love that game. I've played like 500 hours of it.
Mind-blowing, yeah.
Mind-blowing, like, what? I was like, why would you do that?
Like, what are you thinking? How does this happen? Turns out Awesomenauts is a really good concept, so...
Yeah. But it sort of, like, I've loved Awesomenauts, I've loved working on it, but to run into people that were so incredibly into it, and that for whom it has had such an incredible impact on their lives, that I think that was the first time that really sunk in for me, and that was a really, really special moment. And since then, events have been so much fun, just bringing Awesomenauts there. And I remember just PAX is pretty crowded, so I was standing a bit further away from the booth, just looking at it, taking a short break, and there's just people coming over, looking like this is something they would never enjoy, and then they're like, hey, I play Awesomenauts all the time at home, and then they just tear it up. And I've at Gamescoms later on, we've had just a woman with her, I think her maybe 5 or 6 year old kid, come over and like, hey, in my broken German, do you want to play? And she's like, oh yeah, we play all the time. They play a vertical Voltar combo.
Oh, and, no.
And it was crazy. They just picked up the controller, played like they would at home, and totally destroyed other people at the booth. And then they're like, yeah, thanks for making Awesomenauts, and they just moved on. And that moment is so special. Also seeing at events, it's actually something that happens at Gamescom, rather than other shows. It's kids coming over to play a game, like, I'll enjoy this, and then they start dragging other people in because Awesomenauts is a team game. They're like, I need more people here. And then we've had a show where there's 2 kids that keep coming back, and they keep recruiting people walking around to play on their team, just so they can sort of face off as coaches against each other.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, those have been really, really magical moments.
Oh yeah, no, I don't doubt that. That would be awesome to see that kind of thing happen right in front of you. It's like, oh, this is completely organic. Like, this is what would happen if this were at an arcade. Like,
Yeah.
this is sick.
So yeah, that is sort of one of my favorite moments. The other one is, I think, in 2015, is actually when you came over to the Netherlands to do the Black Label esports event.
I remember that.
Which is you better.
That was my first time at a gaming convention ever, by the by.
Nice.
That was very cool, but continue, sorry.
It's Black Label esports was a subsection of an event in the Netherlands called Power Limited Gameplay, I think.
Yeah.
It was an esports stage, and I had sort of badgered those people into putting us up on the stage. And at some point they said, yes, sure, whatever. And they gave us a slot in between some Heroes of the Storm games.
Yeah.
And we realized, oh shit, we're not going to play ourselves. So we reached out to a couple of hardcore Dutch fans. They're like, sure, we'll play. One of them brought in Edster from the UK, who was also like, I want to be part of this.
Yeah, for those of you that are still that are part of the community, he's now better known as Abs. But yeah, Abs is about, and Abs was there.
Abs was there juggling on stage at some point, and we brought in KNG Richard, which was like one of the very first really hardcore players, and he just happened to live nearby. And we brought in Slow Wolf to do commentary together with KNG Richard. And we were it kind of started out maybe even as a bluff, but something that we'd love to make happen. And it turned into a really, really cool bit where there's, I don't know, a bunch of people sitting just watching a stage waiting for Heroes of the Storm or League of Legends, and we're like, well, here's a show match for Awesomenauts, which is a game that's actually just made 1 kilometer from that event.
Yeah.
And I was backstage using the sort of a very rudimentary spectator mode, because it definitely wasn't finished at that point yet. And I was going to do that together with Kuhn, but they told Kuhn, no, you have to come because you have to be there to sort of press the replay button if something's really cool. So I was just back there sort of looking below the stage, seeing just a bit of the crowd, and it just starts out with people just sitting like this. Like they
lay back, they're just like waiting, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We're waiting for the next game, and they're doing this. But like 10 minutes in, you sort of see it click. These people have never seen
now,
Awesomenauts before.
I recognize that there's no good time to interrupt
as
this thing. But I figured now would be as good a time as any, because in about 4 seconds, well, I mean, Raffle Sight. So a bit of a tone change there. Let's draw our last entrant. Hey, tygrtom! Congratulations for getting our 4th and final Roboscoop for the day. So for those of you that want to listen to the entire interview from start to finish, 2 things. One, as soon as I get this episode re-rendered, so there isn't that one visual glitch near the beginning, it will be up on YouTube. It'll be up on YouTube for you to be able to consume. And in addition, it should be now available on a variety of different podcasting apps, as we have found a place where we can host these podcasts that works well for what we're looking for. And it should be episode 1 is already available on the iTunes, like Apple podcasting app. It's already available on Spotify, and the list of those kinds of things should only increase as time goes on. So, thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 2 of the Blightcast. For as long as you guys were able to see it and listen to it, I suggest and highly recommend that you go listen to the rest of it, as it is a great little interview. It's an excellent send-off to a very good friend, as he goes and works in other places, in redacted places. I really wish I could say where, because it's exciting, but can't say anything. So, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you folks enjoyed the Streamisho for this Wednesday, July the 15th. Again, if you want to go ahead and talk to the rest of the community and hang out with folks like Inky Cat, who did all the charity, with Robin, who is still around the community and all that such, you can go ahead and check us out at discord.gg/Ronimo. You can also find all these socials now on the Twitch page, including our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram, and our YouTube. So go ahead and check that out, please. All of which are Ronimo, so it should be relatively easy to find. If you have fan art or anything else like that you'd like to have featured on the show, go ahead and send it to me, and I'd also like to feature it on our Instagram and send you some social links. So hey, you know, if you're that kind of artist that wants to get their work shown off, hey, talk to me. I'll put it up on our Instagram. It'll be fine, within reason. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope that you folks enjoyed yourselves. I hope that you folks had fun. We're going to talk more music in the future. We're going to talk more about the tournaments. We're going to do some casting and all that stuff, hopefully. And yeah, I'm hoping to be streaming on Friday, but again, it depends a bit on the beta and workload and all that stuff. So, for right now, that's it from us. We hope that you guys have an excellent day, afternoon, evening, and night. We hope that you're all safe, that you're healthy, that you're washing your hands, and we all hope that you wear a mask. This is Slow Wolf, and we, at Ronimo Games, are now going to sign off. All of y'all have an excellent rest of your day. Bye-bye! And just as a side note, an extra special congratulations to sirdederic, bloopblorpblarp, ladygreir, and tygrtom for winning some Roboscoops. Welcome to the Roboscoop, fam. Should be sweet. Now, as far as SBL casting goes, great question. I'm gonna try my best. Hopefully for Friday. And you can find these arts on the awesomenauts wiki. Talk to RP Varela. Look it up. It's a good time. Wikipedia.